A Washington Post-ABC News poll found that 9% of Americans believe holding white supremacist and neo-Nazi views is acceptable. A majority of Americans, regardless of party, thinks it's unacceptable to hold such views, 83% overall. The poll was conducted following the violence in Charlottesville, and 56% said they disapproved of President Trump's response, with 28% approving. 42% said Trump has been putting white supremacists on an equal standing with their opponents, while 35% said he has not. Trump's overall approval rating stands at 37%, compared to 36% in July. Why it matters: 9% of America is nearly 30 million people. The poll reported a margin of error of plus or minus 3.5 percentage points. It polled a random national sample of 1,014 adults. The remains of the USS Indianapolis, which sunk in the Philippine Sea in 1945 after being torpedoed by a Japanese submarine, were discovered by a research team led by Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen. Think back: the Indianapolis is famous for its catastrophic sinking, just days after delivering components used in the atomic bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima, that left hundreds of sailors dead and hundreds more adrift in shark-infested waters for 5 days. You may recall it from a scene in Jaws. The reaction from Captain William Toty-Rhett, the spokesperson for the Indianapolis Survivors Association. They all know this is now a war memorial, and are grateful for the respect and dignity that Paul Allen and his team have paid to one of the most tangible manifestations of the pain and sacrifice of our World War II veterans. President Trump will address the nation regarding his strategy in Afghanistan tonight. Here's how many U.S. troops and contractors were in the country through as of late 2016, and the 8 years prior, according to an April report from the Congressional Research Service. Data: Congressional Research Service chart: Lazaro Gamio Axios. Some takeaways from the report: the latest available figures from Q4 of FY 2016 show 9,800 troops in Afghanistan, down from about 100,000 in 2011. Contractors have frequently made up over half of the U.S. presence in Afghanistan. In Q4 of FY 2016, 72% of the U.S. presence in Afghanistan consisted of contractors. About 3% of these contractors were armed private security contractors. The U.S. Embassy in Russia announced Monday it will stop issuing non-immigrant visas to Russians for 8 days from Wednesday. A State Department official told Axios, "We are forced to suspend them as a result of the Russian government-imposed cap on U.S. Embassy staff in Russia." The U.S. State Department said this is not retaliation for that cap, but it is just a reflection of the fact that fewer employees on the ground leads to a reduction in capacity. 250,000 Russian tourists visited the U.S. last year, Russian tourism officials reported. For consulates in St. Petersburg, Yekaterinburg, and Vladivostok, the suspension is in place until further notice, the official said. The backdrop: in July, Vladimir Putin ordered the U.S. to cut its embassy staff by 755 in response to a fresh round of sanctions passed by Congress over Russia's election meddling. President Trump, First Lady Melania Trump, and Baron Trump at the White House, Andrew Harnack, Attorney General Jeff Sessions, and Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross at the White House, Andrew Harnack, Vice President Mike Pence with students from Cornerstone Schools, Manuel Balchase and Yatta, Ivanka Trump at the White House, Andrew Harnack, Tiffany Trump and her mother, Marla Maples in D.C., and a bonus: the Bush family in Texas. Google's chief economist says that technology will help people transition into new roles, even as it changes the nature of jobs. Hal Varian noted that technology has made it easier for people to learn crucial job skills while on the job. Drivers, he noted, no longer need to have a perfect grasp of a city's geography. They can learn as they go because technology exists to help with navigation. Online content, such as Khan Academy, can help teach new skills. This cognitive assist is really a big deal because it allows for the kind of on-the-job training you're talking about, he said Monday at the Technology Policy Institute's annual conference. Why it matters: some argue that the tech industry has a responsibility to help workers who are impacted by automation, robotics and artificial intelligence. Varian told Axios that helping people pick up new skills is also good for business. Here's what else Trump has had to say about sending troops to Afghanistan in the past. Starting as early as 2011, Donald Trump has made it clear that he wants troops to be brought back from Afghanistan, not sent out. However, the Secret Service told Axios in a statement Monday afternoon that although the number of people within the Trump administration that needs protection is unprecedented, 42 under Trump, 18 being family members compared with just 31 under Obama, the financial issues the agency faces have been going on for years. Our agency experienced a similar situation in calendar year 2016. This issue is not one that can be attributed to the current administration's protection requirements alone, but rather has been an ongoing issue for nearly a decade due to an overall increase in operational tempo. What's next to help ease the situation? Alice has reportedly begun meeting with lawmakers to discuss raising agents' salary and overtime caps from $160,000 per year to $187,000, a proposal he has asked to last through the end of Trump's first term. But even with the added funding, the agency said many employees would never be fully compensated for the overtime they've already logged. White House response: the WH said in a statement that Trump is committed to ensuring the Secret Service and all of those protecting our country have all the resources they need. We are going to continue to work with Congress on this important issue, which requires their actions. Full statement made by U.S. Secret Service Director Randolph Tex Alice, sent to Axios via email. I am extremely proud of the hard work performed by the men and women of the Secret Service. The devotion to duty is unparalleled in federal law enforcement. The Secret Service has the funding it needs to meet all current mission requirements for the remainder of the fiscal year and compensate employees for overtime within statutory pay caps. The Secret Service estimates that roughly 1,100 employees will work overtime hours in excess of statutory pay caps during calendar year 2017. Our agency experienced a similar situation in calendar year 2016 that resulted in legislation that allowed Secret Service employees to exceed statutory caps on pay. To remedy this ongoing and serious problem, the agency has worked closely with the Department of Homeland Security, the administration, and the Congress over the past several months to find a legislative solution. As we work to ensure that employees are compensated for the hours they work, the Secret Service continues its rigorous hiring of special agents, uniformed division officers, and critical support staff to meet future mission requirements. The law, Title 18 U.S. Code 3056, details protection requirements for the President, Vice President, and their immediate family members. This issue is not one that can be attributed to the current administration's protection requirements alone, but rather has been an ongoing issue for nearly a decade due to an overall increase in operational tempo. A man in Houston, Texas has been arrested after allegedly trying to plant a bomb near a statue of a Confederate Army officer, the Houston Chronicle reports. The suspect, Andrew Schneck, 25, was arrested Saturday night in Herman Park. He was convicted in 2015 of storing explosives, the Chronicle reports. A park ranger reportedly saw him kneeling in the bushes and holding boxes with wires and duct tape. Federal authorities said Schneck had tubes containing nitroglycerin and HMTD, an explosive compound. The statue, Confederate officer Richard Dowling. It was commissioned in 1905. But the Chronicle, the statue, made of marble, was the first publicly financed monument in Houston, according to the city's website.